Hi, my name is Anne Brady and I welcome you to a Mentoring Writers Resource Box podcast. Listen to learn more about the writing world. After all, the more you learn, the better writer you can become. I want to cover what to do if you have heard of or have a great idea for a children's picture book. Maybe you are that someone who has had a great idea for a children's book. Or perhaps you are already a children's book author, an illustrator, or even an editor who is always being asked for advice or help by other people with ideas for a children's book. Then again, you could be a published author who works with someone's mum and she keeps telling you that your publisher should publish her daughter's story about the runaway teddy bear. Whoever you are, we hope this guide in making an illustrated picture book, usually 32 pages long, will be useful to you. Number 1, gird yourself. Funny word that, gird. Actually, it means get ready and strengthen yourself. Writing a picture book is quite easy. That is, if you have a good imagination. But then that's true of any writing. However, writing a good picture book is extremely hard. Yes, we know they are made up of short stories. The majority of picture books published today normally have between 750 and 1,000 words. However, writing good picture books is in fact an art form. And writing a great one requires as much attention as any other serious piece of fiction. You will find you need time, talent, and lots of patience. And believe you me, the path to publication can be a long one. I should know. I've created and written 18 of them, and I have another 30 in the pipeline. Number 2, read picture books. Despite what you think, picture books do in fact have a rich history. They also have a few peculiar formal conventions. In order to help you understand the theory and format of picture books, we recommend you read and study as many great picture books as you can. That's what a library's for. Try to understand why they work and how. The first thing you should do is ignore the illustrations in the book and concentrate on how the text functions. Then go back and look at how the illustrations function without the text. Go beyond such writers as Sendak, Silverstone and Dr. Seuss. All three are masters who are justly famous. Read deeper. Try authors such as Ruth Cross, The Provences, Barbara Cooney, Tomi Ungerer. There are lots and lots. And if you like, even mine, the Little Friends Adventure series. I don't mind. Quite enjoy you reading them. However, don't just spend one afternoon in the children's section of a bookstore. Take this job of reading seriously. Get into the library as well. The more you read, the more aware you will become of why these books have worked for so long and also why they don't work. By doing so, it will lead you to creating a better book of your own. Number 3, having done your research, write it. Now remember, no matter what you do, you won't sell an idea. What you need to do is actually sit down and write that book, and that will mean a lot of planning. You will need to plan a plot, know your characters, what problems and obstacles there will be, and a load more other stuff. This is also why you will need to do your research. What? I hear you cry. Well, yes, writers, unless you understand everything there is about your stories, characters, scenes, etc., how can you be truthful and honest in your writing? Number 4. Consider not using rhyme. Whilst many new writers think rhyming is easy, I will tell you it can be very tricky. If this is your first book, we recommend you don't attempt rhyming, unless, of course, you are a skilled versifier. It makes awful reading when a kid's poem doesn't scan, mainly because picture books, more often than not, are meant to be read aloud. So if the meter malfunctions or a rhyme doesn't actually rhyme, then it becomes a disaster. And this will leave the parent or the teacher looking foolish. There is a popular misconception that most kids' books rhyme. Well, they don't. And rhymesers, clunky poetry for kids, do tend to elicit groans from editors and traditional publishers. Number 5. Don't get your story illustrated. Unless you are going to self-publish or are an exceptionally good illustrator, you will find that most picture books acquired by agents or traditional publishers are done so as text manuscripts only. That means minus any illustrations. You submit your story as a text file, and if your book is acquired, it is the publisher who will choose the artist. As I said, unless you are illustrating the book yourself, and you need to be damn good at it, don't send your manuscript out with pictures. Oh, and that includes your friend, spouse, or cousin who is really good at art. Sending your manuscript with illustrations can really hurt your chances of being published. It just won't help, and it's a waste of both yours and your illustrator's time, which can be particularly awkward if the illustrator is someone you know. There is, however, no reason why you cannot include your thoughts on the image scenes that you feel would look good. Writing your suggestions down is acceptable, but if you really want that deal, don't push it too hard. Of course, if you are self-publishing, then a good illustrator is a must, especially if you are not doing your own images. However, make sure you choose one who can provide you with those quality illustrations that will fully complement your writing. They must be in the right format, and there is nothing worse than rubbish images matching a good story. Remember, most buyers view purchasers with their eyes. Guess what they look at first? Number 6, show it to real kids. Always show your story to a bunch of kids, not just your own, and try to make sure they are kids you don't know. When agents or editors reject a story, they often hear back, "But my kid loves it." And maybe that's true. But 99.99% of your readers aren't going to be related to you. So we suggest you read your book in front of, say, 30 kids, preferably ones you don't know that well. If you need help in finding a big group of kids to tell stories to, try volunteering at an after-school session or at a school that needs extra help. See what bits the kids like, remembering to note when they appear to get bored. Also, talk to them afterwards about the story. Once you've done that, have someone who isn't familiar with your story also read it to another bunch of kids. Listen to where the reader stumbles or gets confused. See which of the funny bits you loved actually bombed. Again, note where you get bored. And always, always pay attention to the kids' reactions. Children, especially those you don't know, are an honest audience, so you can rely on them to provide you with valuable criticism. Let them show you and where a book is working. Send it to an agent. Once it has been professionally edited, yes, I said professionally edited, it's time to submit your story to the agents. An agent's job is to match your story with the right editor. Agents can often give great editorial advice on your manuscript. You should be aware that they know what they are doing, as it is a specialised job. Different agents have different tastes, so it's important to find the right agent for your book. You need to understand which recently published books share the same spirit with your work. To find out which agents represented them, Google the book's title or author's name and agent. Visit the author's website. Advisory books such as the Children's Writer and Illustrators Market or Children's Writers and Artists Yearbook will probably be useful here. So is the Scooby organisation. That's the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. They are an invaluable resource for people wanting to write and publish children's books. And when you send your manuscript to an agent, include a concise, carefully thought-out letter that explains 1. Why you wrote the book, and 2. Why you're submitting it that particular agent. And please make sure you spell the agent's name correctly. To be honest, we would strongly discourage you from submitting your manuscript direct to any publishers. In the main, many houses don't accept unsolicited manuscript. The few houses that do will more than likely put them on the slush pile, and this is as glamorous as it sounds. Usually slush stuff is read by an intern, or the manuscripts are unceremoniously dumped in big batches and recycled. These houses rarely decline slush, they simply throw it out without a response. If you don't hear back from a publisher, then the chances are they didn't like it. A house that has a big slush pile will get hundreds of manuscripts a month, somewhere you don't want to be lost in. Number 8, acquisition. Having got your agent, they will now submit the manuscript to editors. For your book to be acquired, an editor has to like it first. This editor will then bring it to the rest of the children's publishing editors to get their approval. Once that happens, your book will go to the wider children's publishing group. Depending on the house, that could mean marketing, design, sales, and production. They might all weigh in. Once the whole group has given their approval, the editor will make an offer to your agent for your book. And remember, it is they who will negotiate the deal on your behalf. Also, don't forget, at the end of the day, both the agent and the publisher will want their cut. After all, they are the ones investing their time and effort in you, the brand. Number 9, the illustrations. If you are lucky to be accepted by a publishing house, it is at this stage that an illustrator will be assigned to illustrate your story. You may be invited to give your opinion on the sketches. Then again, you may not. If you are consulted about the artwork, please try and be humble. We appreciate this might be hard to do. After all, this is your baby, and you care more about your story than anyone else. However, it may well be important to cede some control to the artist. In a good picture book, an illustrator will do at least half of the storytelling. They get to make very important decisions about how your characters will look, which events get emphasized, and how the story is paced. You might find it a bit weird to see your character drawn with brown hair instead of the blonde you imagined. Unless your text states the hair colour, and it almost certainly shouldn't, you should not get to decide. Let the illustrator bring their individual vision to the story. That's all part of the magic of picture books. Now we come to the waiting. One very important thing you must realise in this whole process is that a book done through a professional publisher takes a long time to get illustrated and just as long to get printed. You have, therefore, to be patient. All in all, it could, and possibly will, take at least 18 months from the time your book is accepted to the moment it arrives on the shelves. In the meantime, you get writing a sequel or two. As for pre-publication, whilst you are waiting, you need to start developing you, the brand. Do your best to become findable as a children's book author. If a prospective reader types your name into the internet, they should be able to find you easily. Make sure you have created a website, and if you are good at Twitter, Facebook, or another social media outlet, start marketing yourself there. If you're not good, then don't do it or get someone who is to help you. Just make sure that if someone looks you up, they will be able to find information about you and your upcoming book with ease. Now we get to publication. And at long last, the day arrives when your book is launched. Put a copy in your bag and go visit all the local bookstores, introducing yourself to the manager and staff. If you are lucky enough to find a store already carrying your book, then offer to sign some stock for them. If they are not nice, don't let them get to you. Just smile, thank them kindly, and leave. You can always go round the corner and have a good mutter to yourself to relieve the tension. And if they don't have your book, offer to show it to them. Tell them you live locally in the neighbourhood and ask them if they will carry it. Offer to do an author signing session. Don't forget, these booksellers will become your allies throughout your career. They have the power to put books in kids' hands, and they also tend to be smart and friendly people. And lastly, show it to the kids again. Now this is probably the most enjoyable part, because now it is a physical book. At this point, say yes to any opportunity that arises for you to promote you and your book. Think of doing book signings, speaking engagements, school visits, craft fairs, no matter how large or how small. In fact, any event which gets you and your book out there in front of kids. It will not only help bring your book to the attention of some new readers, it will also provide you with some critical experience of dealing with kids. And once you are in front of a whole bunch of kids you don't know, well, talk about the next book as well that you're writing and see what they think of it. Today, I have only shown you the simplest of steps on how you can go about getting your picture book finished and ready for publication. I hope you learned something from it. And in the meantime, if you would like more details of our services or any help with any aspect of your writing, including mentoring, etc., then why not email us, contact@mentoringwriters.co.uk, and we will endeavour to assist you in your writing journey. Happy children's storybook writing. This was Anne Brady bringing you a Mentoring Writers Resource Box podcast. Thank you for listening, and we hope you will join us again.